tank in all of War Thunder, the IS6. So, what makes it overpowered? Well, a few things. So first of all, let's go over its armor. It doesn't seem like it has the best of armor. Now look, the effective thickness actually isn't too thick, like a lot of tanks seem like they could penetrate that. Nah. This thing bounces everything, and you get so many non-penetrations on its frontal armor, it's not even funny. Don't even try to shoot over here. Its front armor is indestructible. So is its underglacius. The IS6 cannot be shot in the front. Turret armor is very good, as you can see. The only weak point really on the turret is here, where these little machine guns are. But even that's inconsistent though. Like, you'll shoot it and it'll say non-penetration at the time. Or you'll shoot it and you'll hit ammo. It's very inconsistent. And up a little bit. The place you can hit are the cupolas. Shell will just go straight through. And a lot of times you can kill crew members, but once again, War Thunder has nerfed the buffed the cupolas actually. So it's harder to kill crew members by shooting the cupola. I know personally because I use the T28, and people shoot your cupola and nothing happens. So the IS6 is pretty much indestructible from the front. From the side, I mean the side turret armor is it's pretty good, but you know it can be penetrated. Now, here's an interesting thing about the side armor. It's angled, so from this angle, say, if you were to shoot at the IS6 from like this angle, you might actually get a non-penetration. I've gotten that before, or it will ricochet, as it's angled. And even at this angle, where most tanks, you just go straight to the side. Not this tank. Now, you could shoot through here. It's a much better idea. But a lot of times you'll head off the track. But shooting lower is probably a better idea because this armor, you'll bounce right off this, and you'll bounce right off this. So the IS6, basically, if you get its side, try to aim lower. But of course, the problem is it does have these outer plates, and you have the track, which a lot of times, for me, the track will actually like negate my shell sometimes, or at least diminish its power. You know, and then from the back, just like every tank, the IS6 is extremely vulnerable back here. I mean, it's got these great, you know, these plates here, but, you know, where its engine block is, back of the turret, it's all vulnerable. But, of course, that's not what makes a tank overpowered. The IS6 is overpowered for pretty much, I'd say 3 reasons, but maybe 4. But we'll go 3 for right now. One of them is not even about the tank, but the first 2. Its armor, its speed, and its gun/reload. So those are 3. So let's go over we already went over its armor. Obviously, as we know, this thing has incredibly good armor, and it's angled very well, which means that you can't penetrate it even if, like, you know, you could go, even if your tank is more than 223mm armor pin, a lot of times it will just bounce right off. This tank, its gun. So, as you can see, it's the standard Russian 122mm gun. However, if you use the IS-2 or the IS-3, you'll notice something. This gun reloads in 20.5 seconds, whereas a lot of the other IS tanks, they reload in 27.1 seconds. And that's the stock version, of course. You know, that crew's not upgraded, but you could see it's got a much faster reload. And if you upgrade your crew, you know, your loader all the way, which isn't that hard to do, just considering the amount of darn kills you'll get with this thing, you can get this thing down to like 18 seconds, or maybe a little over. You'll be getting this thing down to where you got a pretty solid reload. And because if you use the IS-2 or the IS-3 or a lot of the other IS tanks, you'll know you shoot, you have quite a while to wait. Your reload's gonna take a while. Now this thing. Now, of course, it is a standard 122, so the armor penetration isn't that amazing, but it's still pretty good. And with this tank's ridiculous armor and speed, which we'll get into next, it's perfectly fine. So this tank is also very fast. I mean, you can see its max speed is 29.3. It goes pretty fast in both reverse and going forward. It's a very maneuverable tank. It's not a very lumbering tank. It's not like, say, like the Mouse, which is great armor, but it's very lumbering. This thing is extremely maneuverable, and it bounces every single shot. Now, the last thing we'll get into is really the matchmaking. And if you see my previous video on American tanks and how the matchmaking is broken there, you'll kind of understand what I'm saying. So, the IS6 is a 7.0, right? No, it's not a 7.0 with its matchmaking. I'll play at 6.3, and I'll have IS6s in my game. I have IS6s in my game at 6.7 all the time. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's fine, you know, 6.7, 7.0, you know, that's only a little increase in the battle rating. And I would agree, yeah, that's fine, because, you know, you can't have everyone just at 6.7. But the problem is, this tank shouldn't be a 7.0. This tank has arguably better armor, and it's just better in general than the T-54, and that's a 7.3. My solution to the IS-6 is a very easy solution. Just put it at 7.3 battle rating. It's not a hard solution. Because obviously the matchmaking, you know, will always, it always seems to under-tier IS-6 drivers. They all get under-tiered. All my friends who have it, which is quite a few of them, that will go into games, will get under-tiered with them at a 7.0 and I'm using a 6.7. Will get under-tiered for me at like a 6.3, 6.0. So, this tank is ridiculous. And you see it's just got 4 crew members, but, you know, it's an extremely good vehicle. And it's, I hate playing against it. It probably actually is really the first pay-to-win tank in this game. Like, I'll see people who in their lineup have the IS-6, BT-5, and T-26. And they'll get, like, you know, 6, 7 kills. It's like, great. That's not hard to do in this tank. It really isn't. If you haven't played against this tank, you might find it hard to understand why I hate it so much and why it's so broken. But when you play against it, you'll be like, oh, that's why this tank is completely broken. Just put it at a 7.3 Gaijin, because honestly, I've seen it. I use the 105 Tiger. I've used the Mouse at an 8.0, and this tank still does well at those battle ratings because of its stupid armor, and it's fast, and it's just so good. It shouldn't be a 7.0. That's like having, use an example. That's like having the Tiger 2H at like 6.3 instead of 6.7. It's like, well, that's not good, because at a 6.3 you'll probably get under tiered a little bit, and if you do, half those tanks will have a hard time penetrating your turret armor, which is the only weak point on that tank from the front. So this tank should be a 7.3. I think that would solve a lot of the problem, and it wouldn't be useless at 7.3. Heck, it would probably still be pretty good at 7.3. However, it would just be facing tanks that, you know, actually kind of stand a chance against it, because I'll tell you right now, the T-29, the only reason why I don't hate this tank as much as other people is because I have a T-28, and this can't do anything to the front of a T-28, but it's so fast it can outflank me. It's ridiculous. If you just move to 7.3, we're done. And man, do I hate this tank and everyone who uses it.